Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Parent Cafe podcast. My name is Allie.
And I'm Sarah.
And we are here today with...
Hi, I'm Kerri. My name's Kerri Sharpe, and I have a small business called Pretty Little Pots.
Amazing. So we're here today to bug Kerri about her business and basically motherhood, entrepreneurship, having a business, being busy, being run off your feet. Kind of want to get the lowdown. I have a few questions. We're going to be drilling her. No.
Get ready, Kerri.
Get ready.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much, guys.
We're really excited to have you.
Yes.
We haven't yet had this perspective on the podcast, so we're super excited to hear how you do it, and just how you got.
I don't know. It's a miracle.
All right, never mind. We don't have an answer for that. So why don't we start? Why don't you tell us what it is that you do exactly, and maybe like how
you got into it?
How you got into it? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sure. I'm a potter, ceramic artist. I make pottery, mugs, dishes, things like that. So that's my business. Pretty Little Pots is pottery. I make them, glaze them, sell them. And I started with a wheel throwing class. And I think it was in 2013. So it was roughly 8 years ago. And I was hooked straight away. It was a 6-week evening class, and I was absolutely obsessed from there. And so I've just been basically working at it, practicing, increasing my skills, and slowly started developing a business from there. I think I started selling in 2017, like independently, but it was very, very low key, just beginnings, any business, just beginnings. And and it's grown really well over the last couple of years. I have some exciting visions for how to sort of scale my business a bit more in the near future. So I've got some, this is all very hush hush right now, but I have some exciting things in the works. And I'm a mom.
Are you going to spill some of that tea here today?
Oh,
lips are sealed. That's all we got.
All
That's
right.
all we got.
That's fine. It's good to be on our toes. We're good.
Yeah.
And you're a mom. So how many kiddos do you have? How old are they?
Yeah, I am a mom. I'm a stay-at-home mom, so at least get to do that a bit while I'm here. I have 2 kids. They are, my boy is 6 and my girl is 4. And so, gosh, we just finished our first year of school in COVID. So a new parent, right? Everything he does, my 6-year-old, everything that's new for him is new for me. Mm-hmm. So school was brand new for me, right? I've never put a kid through school before, and it was all through COVID, and it was just crazy. Very different.
Was he doing that? Would have been like school from home?
No, into kindergarten.
Oh, okay. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Kindergarten at home learning is like, okay, here, color this.
Perfect.
It wasn't really, it wasn't like high school chemistry or anything.
Oh, no.
But anyway, so yes, 6 and 4. And
amazing.
Yeah.
So they arrived kind of in your pottery journey.
Yes. I was, I can't think of years right now, but
2021.
I had my first, I had my first while I was doing all of that, and I had just started working toward trying to make a business, and then I'm like, oh, I'm pregnant and I can't really do much anymore. And I mean, you could for a little bit, right? You can do bit for bit, but then once you've got the baby, you're like,
You think you have so much time, and then you won't have time.
Your hands are like 10 inches deep in clay, and then you have a baby strapped to you.
Oh, I'd love to be one of those really amazing hippie moms that could do all that. but that's just not me.
I don't know if that's just seen in the movies. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who can do that. So I can just wrap them around.
I did see a potter using their wheel with a cat on their shoulders. So you never know, I guess.
So, Kerri, what motivates you?
Oh, I think my primary motivation is being independent, and modeling that to my kids.
Nice.
So I want, it's funny, for years, I was kind of always on the hunt for some sort of home-based business or training I could work from home. Like I always wanted to be, I didn't want to go into the office and do the 9 to 5 kind of thing. Right. I did obviously for a long time, but so anyway, being independent, being able to, prove to myself and anybody else that I can do this, be financially independent, work my way up to that, right? And then also to show my kids that with hard work, you can accomplish your dreams, because this really is my dream. I am so blown away that I found it. I wish I'd have found it years ago, but this is I am living my life.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you asked that question, I'm like, wow, that's so open-ended. But like, that was just like the perfect answer. I loved it.
Oh, well, thank you.
It was so nice.
Well, usually like, you have passion, like this would be your passion. So to have a passion, you need a motivation. Otherwise there's no passion behind what you're doing. I find myself kind of thinking the same thing, Kerri, lately. I'm like, how do I do something from home and just like be here in my own world, in charge of myself, my own schedule? And I see so many people successfully like accomplishing that. But then I'm like, I'm still like not really fully talented in anything. So
well,
you're talented in many things.
Doing a podcast, I'm sure you have many talents. That's right. We're all first critic, right?
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You'll find it. Just keep looking.
Find it. I'll keep looking. It'll be
like you said. Sorry, you've been looking for years for something to kind of do that. So like you said, you found that class. Did you like someone like push you towards doing that? Did you just like see it online? Like,
oh my gosh, it's the funniest thing. It's a little bit of a story, but
I love a good story.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So I moved to Edson in 2011, I believe. Maybe it was 2012.
Okay.
So it was 2 years max before that course came up. So my husband got transferred here. I moved here a few months later because I was working, so I waited. And then I wasn't doing anything. I was in this town. I didn't know anybody. I didn't know anything about this place. And I kept getting lost on the one-ways, the fourth and second. Constantly. Anyway, I started just going out and finding places in town to go. I found the library. So I went into the library, and then I found this hallway that there was a closed door, and it said Creative Arts Society, and it had a phone number. And I was like, wow, that's cool. So I either took a picture of it or wrote it down or whatever. I remember at some point going to the provincial building, and I found a display of brochures, and then there was that town newsletter that we put out. Can't remember the name of it. And it tells you all the different activities going on in town. Some of them are exercise, and some of them are, business classes, and some of them are, like artsy classes. And I just started going out and finding these little things here and there. And I found a farmer's market. It was at the Red Brick. It was this bazaar, and I went in and I looked around, and I saw a lady with some pottery. And so I went over to her and I asked her a few questions. Is there a class in town? Because I thought maybe somebody had mentioned that somewhere, and I saw Creative Arts Society. When I did a painting class one day, I called them. So I went in and I did a painting class. Sorry, talking a lot.
No, it's okay.
anyway, just kept going, that I kept finding these things. And so she led me to the club, or to a sale. They have their annual biannual spring and fall palette and pottery sale. So I went to that one day and I had a look around, and I saw that they had a sign up sheet. And so I signed up and I went, and everything else. And it was all just seemed to be laid out for me. It was really amazing, but like I was seeking for something, right? Yeah. And it just seemed all perfectly laid out, and eventually got me to where I am now. And I'm just so grateful.
Pottery was really calling your name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I've looking for you.
Yeah. And it found me. Yeah. I've always been artistic. I come from an artistic family. My grandfather was a painter. My mom, she's really amazing with interior design. My brother's a landscaper. My sister's a painter. She also did welding and pottery in school. And I've always, just the creativity just finally found its outlet.
Amazing. I love watching your videos on your Instagram of just like you just like carving. Like it's so relaxing. Like I just like I don't notice that it keeps like looping around, and I just like continue watching it, and I'm like, I'm lost.
That's good.
It's so like peaceful. Yeah, and like it's just so like intrinsic. Is that a word? Or did I make that up?
I mean, but I don't know if it makes sense in the sentence.
Yeah, it might not be.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways,
you know what you're saying? Like hypnotizing almost. Yes. A different word for that. Like you're in a trance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Those processes are very fun, very meditative. Mm-hmm. And I thought like, oh yeah, I should start doing the videos.
Where do you get your inspiration from for not just like the pottery itself, but like for like posting things, and like, because I find like I always am seeing your stuff online, and like you're very on social media and stuff like that. So like, how do you find your inspiration to do that?
I don't know. I just try to make sure that I remind myself, I guess, that, this is what I'm doing. This is my business. So even though it is from home, and even though my day might not look like a regular work day, I've got to keep on top of the fact that this is my business. I'm making these products for people to bring into their homes. So I need to make sure that I'm still keeping myself somewhat in the foreground. And I've been finding social media, especially Instagram, has been a fantastic place to help me grow my business. Trying to kind of branch out a little bit more as well, but it can be hard. So Instagram is my main platform, and I just, I don't know. I finally decided to start talking about life, right? Here's what I'm doing today, guys. Maybe it'll interest you, maybe it won't. And yeah.
I love that. Yeah. It's so nice too. I kind of think it gives a better connection, especially as just like a business person. You have what defines you. People know you as Kerri. She makes great pottery. She has a pottery business. But then like to have that deeper connection, and especially in a small town too, and then people know more about you, and it's kind of like, oh, that's Kerri with 2 children.
Yes.
Like, then they just know so much more. And then it's so much more personal, like to be able to kind of like sell yourself within your business. I think that's great.
More relatable too.
Yeah, exactly. Way more relatable. Yeah. Similar question, but I kind of like how do you get inspired, or like where do you get your inspiration? I guess like how do you come up with new ideas for things? Because I find like there's always something new. Like I bought a mug that has like the sleeve and the plastic lid, and I still to this day am like, how did she get this mug shaped properly so that the lid like I'm like, my mind is blown, because every time I put the lid on, I'm like, how is this?
You're like, did she make 30 of these to get one?
Like, how did you do that? Because it's like, it makes me think of like, how is this handmade?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well,
You
That's
know,
so
like
cool. I love hearing this kind of thing, right? I love hearing from a normal person's perspective. That's
yeah,
fantastic. That requires measuring and practice. But I've got that one figured out. Yeah, that one's easy for me now, which is great, right? Like I just
That one's
there's
easy for
something-
me. I can't imagine saying that about pottery.
well, especially
Oh,
because the lid like relies on you to have the size right, the shape right. It's even
Yep.
on the edges. Like it's like,
yeah,
it's amazing.
yeah, that's right. It needs to be there needs to be the right thickness rim.
Yeah.
But the great thing is that with these, like, because I use the silicone lids, and which, by the way, a lot of people don't know are actually recyclable.
Oh.
Yes, so that is also why they're a better option than plastic. So they don't leach into your food. They can go in the freezer, the microwave, the dishwasher. They're heat resistant, freezer resistant, right? There's so much more ecologically sound than plastic lids. Like even the hard plastic, if it gets broken, that's it. It's done, right? Or obviously all the one-use throwaway things that we're obviously trying to avoid currently. The silicone is flexible. So you do have a little bit of a leeway.
A little more
great. Yeah, a little bit more forgiveness, right? So but leeway, I mean, I'm talking like 3 millimeters.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, like, you're saying it's forgiving, but I literally put the lid on and it's perfect. So I'm like, okay. I'm going to have to get my ruler out. Be like, how forgiving is it really?
Yeah. Stretch it out.
Perfect to me. But when I love it, like awesome. I see, because there are like, there's a whole, I guess I want to say like family of pottery in Edson. That's actually one thing I noticed when I moved here. One of the first things I attended was a palette and pottery sale. I moved in 2016, beginning of. So I went to the May sale because it was at the library and I lived like just across the red brick. So I would always see things happening there. And I would be like, oh, I wonder, like, what are all these people going, parking in front of my house for?
For sure.
So I would like cross and I saw the palette and pottery sale signs and I would go there and every time I go, I have no more money because I'm just like, everything is so different and unique. And then I just am like, where does everyone get ideas constantly to like,
I'm always
so fresh
in awe.
Like, yeah.
The variety.
Absolutely.
The colors and the details and
I honestly don't even know how to answer that because I think it just comes from everywhere, right? So like Pantone releases a color of the year, right?
Yes.
And people change their kitchen colors or whatever. And I think that just in terms of general everyday life, we're just inspired by everything around us, right? So we'll see that all of a sudden you'll see a whole bunch of blue pottery. And well, actually, I think blue pottery never actually goes out of style. That's the one color that seems to sell year after year after year. Anything in blues. But you might start seeing more really, really bright colors for summertime or summer themes. You can get these amazing decals to put on ceramics that you can get flowers, you can get fruits, you can get animals, and so people can change things around seasonally. And so I think it's just everything, whatever our interests are, whatever our personality is, definitely plays a role in that, right? Like I've been doing a lot of really I would sometimes do some rustic stuff because like I'm a down to earth. I love rustic furniture and things like that, right? So I kind of work with that a bit. But then I'm also a really bright and bubbly personality and I like color. And so start playing with like, how can I make this glaze really be, have a lot of personality or whatever, things like that.
My stuff sucked. Like I'd be in a kid's class with a bunch of, 8-year-olds and they're whipping me like with their artwork. And I'm just like working on a lumpy whale, like trying to make a hole for like my little succulent pot and like,
you're getting your hands dirty. That's all that matters.
And then I have someone like message me that it cracked or something, or and I'm like, of course mine did. Sure. whatever. And then the instructor's always just like, well, you can have mine. I'm like, oh, okay.
Thank you. I made this.
I made this. It just looks so good. But
I did that. I taught a. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, yeah, I can understand that. I taught a fish grade 2 class, made a fish, thing, and one child's broke, and I felt so awful, and I gave him mine, and then I felt even worse because I was like, now he can't even go home and say, look, Mom, what I made, But, it happens. I mean, it's okay.
Yeah.
At least you get out there and have some fun. I mean, that's really cool.
yeah,
It's like being a kid again and playing in the mud.
exactly.
I think you prepare, like, because you taught when I worked at the family center, you taught a class for the parents, and you kind of prepared them that things might break and things might go wrong, and like that's kind of the process of pottery. And I think kids kind of understand that, hopefully, too. So
yeah, I think so. And I hope that's my goal, is to always at least let everyone be prepared when I'm, teaching a group or teaching, a couple. So that's good. But yeah, no, you're right. Like kids, they're a lot more, resilient, they get that. Yeah, I'm playing with mud. It might break, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. But see, that's the thing too, is right. They get in, they're like, I'm having fun.
Yes.
So
I think that's what they would remember more than actually what they made, is like that experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have like pottery from being when I was a kid, and it's bad, but like I have it,
Well, yeah, but see, it's just got a very good memory for you, right? Special memory.
Yeah.
That's the whole childhood perspective is something that I'm learning, as a mom. As I said, my son has just gone through his first year of kindergarten, and learning. See, I'm learning. I'm on a journey. As my children grow, I'm also growing. They're helping me to grow, right? And I think a lot of mothers can probably truly say that. And we didn't, even though we never would have realized before having our kids what that was like. So I'm learning to let things go and let them have the fun and not be so rigid in how they accomplish things, or my expectations of how this should turn out, even like just in daily life. Right. And so I think that perspective plays back into my business, allowing myself to have fun from time to time, right? And not putting so much pressure. The first couple of years, I was putting so much pressure on myself to, just any business thing, you name it. What are people wanting? What should I be doing? I need to make more. I need to be here. I need to be there. And now I'm taking summer off, right? To just enjoy, to play around. And taking that time to refresh is really, really important for feeding your creativity. So as I'm resting and I'm not pressuring myself to do this, I had no more custom orders to work on. And I told I have one stockist in the city who carries my work, and I've said, I'm not going to be bringing anything in for this summer. And all of that rest allows new ideas to come, right? Your mind slowed, and so very excited about it.
Do you think it's been more beneficial for you, like as an artist and then as a business person, to kind of take those thoughts out of your head? Like, what do people want? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, from time to time, I'll say, well, what are you guys interested in seeing a little bit here and there? But I don't rely on that. I don't, I no longer succumb to any self-inflicted pressure based on those ideas.
Right. Well, I just can't even imagine, like, you'd be a lot more, I guess, successful if you're doing the thing you love to do. And so if you're creating things that you care about creating, people see that, they're probably,
I truly think so.
Right. Yeah. I mean, custom orders are, I guess, a different story, because that's kind of like They have a specific thing that they're
When
looking.
you're working
Yes.
with them.
Yeah. And and that's a choice by the artist's choice whether they want to do those or not. And sometimes it's just part of the business. And but yeah, definitely not to like I think I really, even though that pressure I was putting on myself at the beginning, I always realized and then finally decided, make what you want to make what you feel good about, like just do your thing. And you know what, and there's people out there that have the same, whether it's your values that are shining through, your creative personality that's shining through, whatever, there's people out there for you, right? You don't have to try to cater to who can I cater to,
like mainstream. Like getting so stuck
Be
and
yourself.
hung up on that. And that's where I think that uniqueness comes from, because if everybody was focusing on like, well, what's mainstream, everyone's work would then just be the same,
the exact same,
same
color, same pink salmon color, pottery everywhere.
It'd be awful.
Give the people what they need, not what they want.
That's right.
Or give the people what you want. And then they'll want
they'll find you, right?
How would you describe like your typical day? So how many hours would you say that you kind of dedicate to business, and then how do you juggle like at home?
Yeah, I'm still learning that. A lifetime process as the kids grow and change. My ideal day is typically get the kids off to school or childcare, whatever. Come back. Hopefully I've cleaned my studio the day before if needed, and then I'm not wasting time when I get back to do that. But it happens. So just come in, put my music on. That's a big part of my work days, is having music going, and usually something boppy to kind of get me moving a little bit, and just decide based on the process of where things are, because everything has a stage,
right?
So you've got your like throwing. It's fresh and wet and you've got to let that sit up, or something's been sitting for a few days and now I can either carve it or I can paint it or I can attach a handle, or different stages. So based on where things are at, and I've usually got 2 or 3 different stages in play at this in any given day. So I'll decide which needs attention first. So it might be this one's getting dry, deal with that first, and then deal with the damp stuff later, or whatever. So it's just come in, examine the situation, and attack.
So no 2 days are the same.
Not usually, no. Unless for example, if I wanted to do a ton of travel mugs because they're easier, they don't require handles, I might do 2 days of throwing travel mugs. That might be the same, but then usually, there's always something else going on. Childcare. So my first son had his first year of school. He was away all day. But my other child isn't in school yet. So childcare would be maybe 2 days a week, 2 full days a week.
Okay.
Or it might look like her going to my parents for a couple of hours. In which case, so this last year was a whole shift because she was out of childcare. And I had to really try to figure out how to work around that.
Right.
So I would end up doing a lot of stuff in the evenings, trying to get them to go to bed and give myself a pep talk. Okay, you can go downstairs and you can work for 3 hours and then go to bed. Or so this last year was a real shift. Things were different. The schedule was way different. And production was a lot lower for most of the year. But then I ramped up before Christmas, and I don't know where I got all the childcare from, but I found it and I applied it and I just went nuts. And then after that, I was burnt out. I was burnt out from just trying, from just thinking about it all, from just the schedule being so out of whack. And I took took 2 months off then as well. And just kind of starting to get a bit of a flow back, a bit more of a life feeling. Feeling like a human being and feeling like I want to do this thing that I love so much. And so and just taking it easy though. Yeah.
Taking some self-care.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that's super important to mention, like, for like a business owner and a mom, like you do need to take that time for yourself too, because it can't all just be about either business or the kids, right? Like you do need to focus on yourself or you are going to burn out like you did, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And then it's probably a lot tougher to kind of jump back into it because you're dreading just that repeat. Like,
that's right.
Gonna happen again.
Yeah. That's kind of how I felt in the spring when I kind of started getting back into things. I didn't really feel that I didn't have any mojo.
Yeah.
But then summer came or spring came and I also started making some life changes. I started eating better. I decided I need that time with my kids and they need to be outdoors. I love being outdoors. And so I was like, no, you're going to feed the human part of you first, right? So getting outside, spending time with the kids, watching less TV, eating better, so on and so forth, feeding myself first, right? And then that joy started to come back. And like, again, but with it, taking the summer off, it's kind of this whole more like, it's like a whole blending of ideas rather than me actually doing anything, right? But yeah.
Would you say that is probably like one of your biggest struggles as like a parent and a business owner then? Like that was one of my questions was, what is your biggest struggle? Like, would that be like just time management to like burning out and?
Yeah, I think that is. Yeah. And also it's been judging the age of my children and their independence levels as they've grown. It's been, so has at times been a struggle trying to figure out like, okay, are they independent enough for me to leave them alone for 2 hours? Or, and at different stages. So that had to come, at year 2 and at year 3 and at, so that and balancing the time and trying to be like, okay, so do my kids have I spent enough time with my kids today? Or have I been focused on busy, And so, yeah, definitely those two aspects are definitely have been the biggest struggles.
I have a similar question, but I don't know if it's too loaded. But like sort of just rephrasing, I guess, has being an entrepreneur and just like self-made business person affected your family life in like a way that you've noticed, whether positive or negative? It doesn't have to be negative. Have you noticed any kind of like residual effect, I guess? The answer, I think it's a hard one.
No, it is a little bit. Yeah, it really, really makes you think. But I think that actually from what I see, the most residual effect is my children learning and understanding that mommy works. And though it might look differently from how daddy works, mommy still works. And this is important. And this is, this is mommy's job. And look, mommy sells pottery. Look what mommy made to, and just watching them as they grow to learn, to fully comprehend that.
I think it's super cool that they would like be growing up with having kind of both points of view where like they see dad leaving to go to work. They see mom going downstairs and away from them to go to work. And like, they kind of have both. Where that's kind of neat because then, my like most hated question in school with little kids is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because it's like, kids don't know. 18-year-olds don't know. Like, it makes no sense to them. They have no
That's a
idea.
question for us, not for
Yeah.
them.
Like
That really is. Yeah.
ask a 30 something what they want
I
to
don't
be when
even
they
know.
grow up. You
I
know?
don't know.
Like,
Yeah.
so that's not a question for little kids. But like when they get asked that, like I feel like your kids are kind of set up to answer in a different way where they might go to school and be like, I want to be like mom and work from home, like make up my own business. Like they have a different perspective where like,
Yes.
you know, the classic answer is like, I want to be, you know, an
fireman.
astronaut
Yeah.
or
Teacher
or
or
a
Yeah.
goldfish. And it's like,
yeah.
okay,
Perfect.
super.
I
Thank
think
you
that's
for
a really
your answer.
fantastic point. What do you mean goldfish?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think that's a really, really fantastic perspective. Like, yeah, I think you're right, 100%. And I just want them. I mean, one of my biggest dreams for them is to grow up knowing that they can do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, is that messaging being taught enough too, like to kids? Because it's like, grow up and do what you love because you're going to be a happier person for it also. And then the people around you will be happier versus, you know, because to me, like going to school is that same 9 to 5. So if they don't have that other side or that perspective or even just like the conversation about it, because I guess they don't even really need it to be happening in the home, so long as someone's explaining like, you know, work can look
There's
like many
options.
different things.
That's right. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's
No,
not really
completely.
taught either.
And a
No,
career
it's not so much.
lined up this way, and you don't have to do all these steps.
Yeah, that's
I
right.
kind of love that like your kids definitely are kind of going to grow up with that perspective where it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they might say goldfish, but they might also just they will know that they're like fully in control of whatever it is.
Whatever I want to be.
Right.
Yeah. You know, like my son is you know, he's very verbal. You know, he could very well answer somebody asking him that with something like, well, mommy said whatever I want to be.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I think that like if a teacher ever asked that question, that would be like the ideal answer. Like if I was a teacher, I would want a child to say whatever I want because then I'd be like, okay, open-minded kid. I love it. Like, you know, just it's kind of just getting back to like raising them right, I guess, if you will.
That's right. Yeah.
Just giving them all the perspective.
Unschooling.
Yes. We love that topic too.
I bet.
But and then I guess like along that kind of also heavy. Like, sorry,
I have a good follow-up one. I got a good one.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you want to follow up yours now?
No, do this one first.
Mine's gonna derail it. So you might as well follow up.
No. Oh, and it's not a follow-up question. It's just like a happy one. So we'll follow up.
Okay,
with
cool.
the happy one.
All right, here goes mine. What is your greatest fear in terms of your business? And how do you manage that fear?
You came with the heavy questions today.
Yeah, seriously.
I was like really excited.
She's like, oh yeah, I got this.
She's like, I know what to ask.
And I mean, you don't have to have a fear, I guess, but everyone has them. So I just
no, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, probably like without getting too deep or anything, probably, you know, just being a failure, right? Or labeled a failure, or that, you know, like, because that's going back to, that's what motivates me, is being able to say that I can do this. I did this myself, you know? So I think the biggest fear would be failure, or the perspective, the perceived image of failure. And what do I do to combat that? Oh, well, I don't think about it much. It's there. You know, I don't know. I just know I can.
Yeah.
I just know I can.
And drinks coffee. I know you drink a lot of coffee.
Yes, I stay caffeinated, well caffeinated throughout the day.
I honestly think like failure, that's got to be just like top notch, number one fear for anyone who's basically just putting themselves out there.
I think so. Yeah.
Right.
And
Like
I think failure means something different to everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also think if you didn't have the fear of failure, it would almost be like your work would be for none, because they're like with that fear of failure is almost like the motivation, like intrinsically, like motivating you to try your hardest, right? Is like
and then the creativity level would be like nothing, right?
Because you'd be like, I got nothing to lose, I'm good, everyone loves me.
You just don't care.
And then every person I know that's like that sucks, so like, really.
That's true. That is true. Ego is not a good friend.
No. So I think, like, I mean, I admire that you said failure, because I think that that's natural, like normal. It kind of has to exist, that fear of failure. And I think it happens with everything though, no? Like for you guys, like you're both parents. I will be, but I'm not now.
Oh.
You are?
I am, but not yet. Not almost. It's there.
Congratulations!
It's not in frame. But like the fear of failure, even for like raising children, or like, you know, leading a household, or getting through the day, like
mom guilt,
anything. There's just like stacks of failure, fear of failure. So, I think very naturally, I would see that also coming up in business.
I think so. I think it's normal, right? We all deal with it in different ways, but I think it's normal.
Did you feel like it was higher when you first started?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like, what am I doing? I help people this, you know,
like,
and then it's been growing too, right?
When did you feel like you had more of a grip on things then? Or do you?
Never.
That's kind of where my head went. That's not a fair question.
I'm never going to know what I'm doing. No. I definitely have a much better grip on things. I am a researching kind of a personality, so I read a lot. And if I have a question about anything, I Google it, and I don't just, you know, any old source, like I actually research things. So I've learned so much about the pottery process. Like I've learned about glazing, I've learned about the different chemicals, I've learned about safety, because that's important. I've learned about different ways to create different techniques. I keep feeding myself information. So and business courses, or just, you know, even just blogs, how to do this, how to run this better, so on and so forth. Like I learned how to do MailChimp a few months ago. Like it's not something I knew. And I thought, well, I need to teach myself MailChimp because I need a newsletter. So here we go, you know? So I'm constantly educating myself in the realm of my niche, right? But even also as family, as a mother, I mean, that's just my personality. So I was doing the same thing when I was pregnant, and when, you know, in the first year, and, you know, with the newborn stage. And so I'm constantly feeding myself information because knowledge is power, right? So you get a grip on things, you get a grip on life, you get a grip on your business, you get a grip on parenting by not sitting back and just not knowing, you know. You find the information that you need and you apply it.
Ask the questions.
Yeah, that's right. Ask the questions. Absolutely. But probably within the last 2 years is when I started. I mean, I've always researched and stuff, but I really feel like the last 2 years is when I was able to start applying it to grow my business. Does that make sense?
Yes. Perfect.
I could see like too that moment where you're like, okay, I finally have a hang of what I'm doing, and like everything's kind of like the ducks are falling into place too, where it's like you have a routine almost. It's hard to say that if like you have small kids. It's like routine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
with the grain of salt.
I have a process. However, but like, kids are always going to funk it up, especially if like you're working from home, you've got them like upstairs. You're like, are you safe screaming or are you dying screaming?
Yeah.
Like, and right, you kind of like as a parent too, you're like differentiating that because it's like they scream all the time.
Oh yeah.
So you're
All the
just,
time.
yeah, just navigating that. But yeah, I mean, like, I think that that's really admirable too. And like a really good point because you definitely have a point where you're like, okay, I'm super fresh at this. Okay, I'm getting a hang of it. But every time that you learn something new, you're getting a grip on the new thing too.
Yeah.
So you're just like one-upping yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
and then right, because you're finding new process. Like I totally see like, okay, now I want a mail newsletter. So learning that process. So now it's like, okay, now do I get rid of my print? Do I move to electronic only? Am I, you know, like how often do I send them out? And I could see that like that's definitely just like a constant change. And especially with like the way social media works, it's always changing. Preferred platforms are always changing.
Yes.
The way you post on those platforms is changing. Like now reels on Instagram are a big deal. The short videos like TikTok.
Very true.
That's what's getting people's attention.
Gotta learn how to do all that stuff. So you're getting out there.
Exactly.
It's a lifelong process.
Yeah. So there's a lot to the whole, like, you know, it's more than meets the eye, I think. Like many people, maybe they don't realize, like, if you're truly passionate and you get into something like this, there's so much to it that's kind of like, you know, I'm not just at home crocheting hats for the ducks outside and like selling them on the side. Like there's a lot to it. Like you could spend hours on social media that alone. Like you're not even making products. It's like, I'm on social media getting my name out there, and that's hours.
So exactly.
I'm
the CEO, I'm the financial officer, the maker, I'm the janitor, I'm the you're
and you have a full-time job on top of that as a stay-at-home mom, because that's a job. That is a full-time job.
Exactly. You're the creative think tank, like you know, you're
the researcher and the developer.
Exactly. Like that's just, it's insane the amount of work that it takes. And then on top of that, you're a mom. And that came while you were growing this. Which is like even more crazy. It's not even like, you know, the kids are leaving the nest. I better think of something to do. It was like, I'm bringing children into the nest.
What should I do?
Like,
I'm not busy enough.
Exactly.
Just do a job on the side too.
I'm sure I got time for this. I can do it. Do it.
Amazing. And obviously you were meant to do this. Like your work is fantastic. I love it. I have it at home. Sarah loves it.
Thank you so much.
Has it at home. Has it at my mom's house.
On that note, how can everyone get it at home?
First, before I have my follow-up question.
Okay.
To leave, and then we will get to where they can follow it.
Okay.
What has been your biggest success?
In terms of product or like
anything?
Anything.
In both, like for your business with your kids, like in your life, like what do you think has been your biggest success, thing that stands out that makes you like, man, I killed that?
Okay. Oh my gosh. Stump a person, why don't you?
Sorry.
Okay. Golly jeepers. I think my biggest success has been in the realm of motherhood and business, but mostly motherhood, finally being able to let go of any preconceived notions and understand that my children are two individual people in their own rights, and that I can talk to them like human beings. I can reason with them like human beings. I can get down on their level and see their fascination with the world and not just be this figure towering over them running their lives. I hope
love
that
it.
makes
It does.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it totally does, and I love it.
Recognizing them
Thank
as
you.
their own individuals.
Yeah,
Yes.
they are.
Yeah.
Yep.
They are. They are. I do not want to be, I don't want to miss anything. I want to get to know who they are as human beings. And though they're small right now, and that's all just developing, they're gonna be fully grown human beings one day. And I want to know that I've done my best to tell them that the world does care about them, and that who they are is valuable, and that what they like is valuable. And oh gosh, I'm gonna cry. You know, that sort of thing. Yeah.
It's okay. I cry
That's
a lot
awesome.
on this too.
It's okay.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's good. I'm not alone.
No, I'm a crier.
Yeah.
It's a really good perspective to have, for sure, for your
Yes.
kids. And I mean, the
And
world
for
is
our
crazy.
listeners.
The world is crazy, and it's just good to kind of like keep that positive out there too. And you know, and no matter what they choose in life, and as long as it's what they love and they
Yes.
feel like they can do it,
Yes.
there's no reason why they shouldn't.
And that you'll be
Yes.
there for them.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
Yeah. Love it.
Maybe
See,
one of
what
them
a
might-
nice note to
Yeah,
end
and
on.
you know what? One of them,
Thank
one of them
you.
might take over your business.
Mhm.
Maybe.
You'll have like
You
an
never know.
empire.
That would be fantastic.
We'll put it out there.
Yeah.
Do you
Positive
hear us,
vibe.
kids? Yeah. Do you hear us? You're getting into pottery. You don't
That's
get to
it. You
decide
shall
what
run my
you like.
empire.
Yeah. You thought you had a choice. That was all foolish talk. We were kidding.
Yeah, mommy was just kidding. This is
We
what
were,
we're doing.
yeah, we were just
Edit
kidding.
that out.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll edit out the part where we said you could be whatever you want. If you're getting into pottery. But now, thank you, Sarah. That was a very
You're welcome.
nice way to end for sure. Other than potential tears. So sorry about that.
Sorry.
But where can listeners find you? Where can they check out your stuff? I know you have an Etsy page as well, because that's where I look at your things.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
tell us.
sure. Thank you. So once again, the business name is Pretty Little Pots, and you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at pretty_little_pots. I have a website that will actually link everything. I have a link tree, and that's linkt.ree/Pretty Little Pots.
That's
I
on your
also have-
Instagram, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So
I
if you
can
do
link that.
Instagram,
Yeah.
okay.
Perfect.
I feel like that's on my Facebook too, and I do
Okay.
apologize. I don't get on my Facebook page as much as I'd like to. I have
So
yeah,
Instagram.
I've got an Instagram. Instagram's the place to go. That's
Okay.
where you'll find but yeah, I've got an Etsy store. I also, for anybody somewhat local to the Yellowhead County, Parkland County areas, there is a store in Stony Plain that also supplies my work. And their name is Whimsical Vintage Creations.
Oh.
And yeah, but on the social platforms, you can start through Instagram or Facebook and find me and branch out from there. You can find me everywhere.
Amazing. Do you ever go to the Edson farmers markets and things like that?
I have not yet.
Okay.
I haven't been able to produce the capacity
Gotcha.
to spread out much more.
Yeah.
I hope to at some
Yeah.
point.
I see, like, it's a lot. Like, so that's going to be probably a lot of years of like back stock too.
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Oh.
No, you just got to have the time to do it. And so
Right. Yes. Time.
start starting in the fall, I'm actually going to be back on track a bit more, and I'm looking at some possible systems to up my production a little bit as well. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Mhm.
lots of exciting things coming
Yeah.
up soon.
I think what's
Can't
like,
wait to
honestly,
hear.
just walking away from this, I'm just like, the fact that you did this, like, and then smack in the middle had two small kids, like, as you were doing this, is just like so opposite to what you'd normally hear. So I just love it.
Yeah.
Allie's
So
going back.
you.
She's going back to the studio to remake that whale and get into
Period.
pottery.
There you go.
I'll have to go
Do
sell
it.
my lumpy whales at Whimsical Creations. Hopefully they find them whimsical enough, though.
I'm sure they are.
Honestly, there's probably like a niche market for lumpy whale
Yeah.
succulent pots. So
If you call them lumpy whales, like people,
Oh,
it
for
will
sure.
catch on.
They're absolutely,
Yeah.
yes. It's all
Like-
about marketing.
lumpy
That's
whales
another
with mullets, like something like that.
See? There you go.
Done.
It could
That's
be.
fantastic. Yep. Oh,
Anyway.
absolutely. You got it. You got it. Do it.
This could go on for hours because
So-
there's tons of lumpy whale creations we could come up with.
Yes.
Just watch if, like, in the future, my business name will be Lumpy Whale Creations. Like, let's manifest that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it was so amazing to talk to you,
Mhm.
Kerri, and get to know your
Thank you
business.
so much.
Get to know how you kind of like function, just even
Mhm.
doing this as a mom and being so busy and working from home,
Mhm.
but still having this like presence on
Mm.
in your business side. So it's very cool, and thank you for
Awesome.
shining
Thank
light
you.
on that, because that's
Yes,
Oh.
thank you.
yeah,
Thank you,
something
Kerri. I
maybe
really
there could
appreciate it.
there could be tons of moms out there kind of curious, like
Mhm.
how
How do I do this?
how
Do you
does
do
this
anything?
happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
thank you again, and
Yes.
hopefully everyone, I'll put the links in our description. Everybody can click away and check out Kerri's work at Pretty Little Pots. And I'll link her link tree too, so you have all the links on there. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll
Thank you.
see you soon.
Thanks,
All right.
Kerri.
Guys,
Thank
thanks,
you.
Sarah.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.